Welcome to the RPO Football Show. I'm your host, Big Game James. You can find me at Jamie Perot. We're here to talk to you about 5-minute fantasy intervention. So if you're ready, let's get it. I just want you all to be cautious. You need to be cautious about Joe Mixon this week because the Texans, their playoff seed is already locked in. Joe Mixon is banged up. With his injury, they might limit him and his snaps this week to get him fully healthy for the playoffs. So if you start your studs, you want to start Joe Mixon if you're starting your studs, but there's a scenario where you can actually sit him if you have someone like an Isaac Guerrero. We'll see how that plays out. These are my as-off waiver wires. Get those backup running backs. Not necessarily hoping for an injury to the studs, but just in case there's an injury that happens, you want to get Joe Mixon's backup, which is Dameon Pierce. What if Dameon Pierce happens to get like a 45% snap share, maybe even more? He could be a what-the-heck flex. We'll see what happens. He could possibly start in a desperation situation. Next off is I've mentioned this multiple times over the past few weeks on the RPO network. You need to pick up Kendre Miller. The last 2 weeks, I've said, pick this guy up. This is the Saints' backup. What if Kamara gets hurt? Well, guess what? Yeah, he is dealing with an injury right now. Yeah, they signed Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Who's starting CH? Nobody. Who's picking up CH? Nobody. I'm not expecting CEH to get more than 1 to 2 snaps. I don't even think he's going to get off their practice squad. They're just grabbing him off waivers for depth. It's Kendre Miller's backfield. Pick him up. Play him as a flex. He might get you 11, 12 points. That's all we can ask for off the waiver wires. Another guy is Kenneth Gainwell. Gainwell is Barkley's backup. If something happens to Barkley, Gainwell is the guy. We've seen him. He's explosive. He can give you that 12 to 14-point week if Barkley gets hurt. So pick him up, put him on the back end of your bench. Drop your least favorite receiver that you know you're not going to play, and then just pick up one of these backup running backs. Now, for receivers, McMillan. McMillan could be someone you could play. Jalen McMillan is a rookie. He has shown that he is the number 2 receiver in the Bucs offense. Go ahead and pick him up. You possibly play him this week in a flex, and he can get you, 7, 8 points at least. But he has that upside where he can get you 15, 16 points if you're lucky. Jalen Coker's another guy with the injury to Leggett. Leggett's injured. Who's going to get the targets in that offense? It's going to be Jalen Coker. Go ahead and pick him up. If you're desperate at tight end, go ahead and grab Brenton Strange. He had 12 targets last week. He caught 11 of those 12 targets. This week, he faces a plus matchup against the Raiders. The Raiders allow a lot of points to tight ends. Even though Mac Jones is the quarterback, what do we know about quarterbacks that suck? They target their tight ends. So what you can do worse than a Brenton Strange if you're desperate. I'm going to say some trends here. You can't trust Buffalo Bills pass catchers going forward. Week 15, Amari Cooper. He had a 42% route participation. He didn't see a single target in those 42% routes. Since he went over from the Browns to the Bills, he's only had a 52% route share since he's been traded to the Buffalo Bills. You can't trust that. His target share is only a 14% target share. There's no difference between starting Amari Cooper with a 14% target share than any wide receiver off the waiver wire that's getting about a 15% target share. You can't trust Cooper. Yeah, he has that upside because we all know he's talented, but still, I ain't trusting those numbers. With a 14% target share? Heck no. The only pass catcher I trust in a Buffalo Bills offense is Khalil Shakur. And if you're completely desperate, maybe the tight end. But we'll talk about that on the offseason next year. Another trend I've been seeing is Najee Harris. Najee Harris last week, Najee has only seen a 36% snap share, which was the lowest of the season. 36% snap share, but he had a 50% rush share. Whip-de freaking do. That's also the lowest of the season that he's been seeing. Last week, the Steelers ran so few plays. He only seen 6 rush attempts. So at 6 rush attempts at a 50% rush share, I don't want anything to do with that going forward. Plus, you can't trust or rely on him for the fantasy playoffs because he faces the Ravens this week and the Chiefs in week 17. Both are elite first to rush. Keep Najee Harris on your bench. If you're in a dynasty league, sell him. Sell. I'm not trusting him to win myself a championship. And that's all I have for 5-minute fantasy intervention. Thank you for joining me at the RPO Football Show. I'll see you next time.